We currently have a closing square in the Venus-Neptune cycle. Closing squares usually bring forth a crisis. Venus takes approximately a year to get around the zodiac, so her aspects with Neptune are regular. However, this one is not regular because it is the last one we are encountering in our lifetimes where Venus and Neptune's cycle started in Pisces. There is another conjunction in Pisces, but this is part of both planets' shadow work. Let's look at the astrology charts to set the stage mathematically, because even while we narrate the storylines of events, these are always underpinned by an intelligent, nurturing universe, if we care to tap into it. On 3rd April 24, this Venus-Neptune cycle opened with the conjunction at 27 degrees 58 minutes of Pisces. Check what started for you at this time. You'll get a feel for the relationship between Venus and Neptune, and you will be able to identify this cycle amongst the many others that take place with your chart at any given time. Remember, you have every planet, sign, and house in your chart. Some cycles will be louder than others for you individually at different times, like the Mars-Pluto power opposition currently. Sometimes the quiet ones can be affecting your world more than you are aware. For this reason, you might want to recognize the foundational impetus of the Venus-Neptune cycles. With this closing square, Venus is in Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter, who is also the traditional ruler of Pisces. So we know this is asking us to expand our consciousness. When we have a closing square aspect, we usually get a jolt. Sometimes we might freeze. Venus has a lot of closing squares with Neptune, so we are used to these. This one demands our attention more because of the anaretic degrees. On 1st February 2025, Venus will conjunct Neptune again. Venus does move past Neptune to start this new cycle, but soon she will retrograde back into the old cycle again. Venus and Neptune have more work to do on the old cycle. 2nd March 2025, Venus stations retrograde at 10 degrees of Aries. She is heading towards a square with Mars and a conjunction with Chiron. She turns back and avoids this for now. She has more work to do to prepare for her next cycle with Neptune. Back she goes. She meets Neptune again. This time she is in her retrograde motion, moving back through her shadow once more. On 30 March 2025, Neptune ingresses into Aries. Venus is still conjunct Neptune. Notice Mercury has gone retrograde to assist her in her last-minute effort to make sure that values and needs can be fulfilled for all. Venus is in her exaltation in Pisces, so she is making the most of this. There is a lot at stake, maybe. It will be interesting for all of us to plot these last points of Pisces in our charts. Do we have any birth points here? Do we have any progressed planets activated here? What house are these last degrees of Pisces in your natal chart? Venus is laying down her mark on these points. She is making no bones about what should be valued. Values are bound up in philosophy, which is used to underpin social systems. Neptune in Aries is not just a sign change, as serious as that is, but going into Aries means going into the new zodiacal cycle. Venus knows that there is a lot at stake. She also knows that what we value will dictate our behavior. Consider for a moment what some people value right now. You can clearly tell when people don't value themselves when they don't value others. If a fundamental value of usefulness underpins a society, then individuals are dispensable if not considered useful. By whom? If some value the master-slave paradigms prevalent still, then these individuals neither value themselves, even though it appears this way, nor others whom they subordinate and must constantly create stories about to convince themselves that something about them makes them different. For Venus, each and every one of us is different. Each and every one of us is valuable beyond comprehension. Each and every one of us must be, must own ourselves, must have what we need to co-create beauty, to be or not to be. Venus stations to go direct again on the 12th of April, 2025. She is still within the range of conjunction with Neptune and the cluster shown here. On 3rd May 2025, the new Venus-Neptune cycle commences at 1 degree 8 minutes of Aries. Check your charts. Even though Neptune will go back into Pisces for a bit with a retrograde motion, because Venus moves so much faster than Neptune, and because Neptune will only stay in Pisces for the last time until the 28th of January 2026, Venus will not make any more conjunctions with Neptune in Pisces. Their cycles will now always start in Aries for many years to come. Venus will, however, have other aspects with Neptune up until the 28th of January 2026, while Neptune is in Pisces, but no more conjunctions in Pisces. So now let's get into how we can actually work with this Venus-Neptune cycle. If you met Venus on the street, you would immediately recognize her or him. Confidence in expressing authenticity manifests as beauty. This applies to men and women both. Are you this man or woman? You are. So if you don't feel you are, then listen up. Venus is not an outer planet, so this energy is always presented in our reality. You feel your Venus energy. You can't not feel your Venus energy. The decisions you make will serve your clear values, especially the most important Venusian value, that of the value of life itself. Venus has no time for sacrifice. If you are stupid enough to partake, then she will turn her back on you. Venus is that underlying ultimate value we lay down as our line in the sand, the line we will never cross. Do no harm and harm to none are phrases we all know as such lines in the sand. It is a pity that they are written in the negative. Those of you who have knowledge of NLP or magic or psychology will recognize why I say this. Better words might be, do unto others as you would have them do unto you, or love thy neighbor as thyself. Islam also gives such poignant wisdom. These words, in my opinion, mean the same as Shakespeare's words, to be or not to be, when we delve deeply enough into Venus. So what's your line in the sand? What do you value? What is your never can be broken line in the sand value that propels you towards living your life creatively? I'm sure you've done the 7 levels value questionnaire. This is where you write what you want. Then you ask, why do I want this? Then you answer that question. You will come up with a reason, which you then ask the same question of. For example, I want a new car. Why? Because my current car breaks down and I want to feel free to travel further than the local shop. Why do you want to travel further than the local shop? Because driving long distances helps me to connect to my world. Why? When you do this no less than 7 times, you will arrive at the foundational value you have that emotionally drives you. Whether you want a partner, a piece of jewelry, a new job, or a new car, there's more to your value story. Enjoy finding out during this closing square. Astrology itself teaches unconditional love through revealing the truth of the uniqueness of every man and woman. The more you become familiar with your own chart and the events it carves into your life, the more you notice how others' charts are different, and so the events in their lives are different to yours, and you develop compassion. It just happens. It can be annoying. Compassion is Neptunian. This then leads to unconditional love for yourself with your unique chart, and for others with their unique charts. Neptune is the higher octave of Venus. Are you starting to get this? When Venus and Neptune get together, a relationship becomes being in love. What is that? Hard to know, but you definitely know when you are in it. A piece of imaginative effort becomes a piece of art with a capital A. Express yourself and have what you need to do so. Allow and help others be themselves and have what they need, whether this be healing or food or co-creating works of art, together by combining different, unique talents. No one else can be you. Why would anyone else want to? Our astrology charts reveal to us the lessons in our lives we chose to have, to get to this point of unconditional love. Some of these lessons find us doing exactly the opposite, and we get into all kinds of situations, and some can cause us embarrassment and shame. Sometimes we fall on our faces. Love, art, and life are messy. Venus loves everything beautiful. Her symbol, the rose, is based on the measurements of the golden mean. Her geometry is perfect. The pentagram is more than math. Da Vinci's man was superimposed over the pentagram. When Neptune does not have a healthy Venus strong in the hearts of men and women, then Neptune connects to an inverted Venus. Neptune's gifts become the madness of degeneracy, sacrifice, and escapism. And this is right now, in our faces, as we witness the Piscean Aeon's endgames. Neptune without Venus is difficult. If Venus puts herself down, Neptune will provide the psychedelics to take her high. A Venus who has chosen to discard her own beauty as worthless might look to covet the beauty of others. Slavery, sacrifice, deceit, drugs, gambling, madness, all these things Neptune can bring to the table for an inverted Venus. When Venus and Neptune combine into a warped relationship, we become lost at sea. No matter how hard Venus's lessons are, the way to deal with all of these issues is to allow these events to reveal their wisdom to us. Big deal if you made a fool of yourself. Who hasn't? You made choices that hurt people. Who hasn't? You are ashamed of yourself, or feel so different to others, you can't find place for yourself. This is wonderful. Finally. You might realize you aren't supposed to until you value your own uniqueness, your own beauty. Big deal also if someone got you on tape doing something that repels you. Anyone these days can create such tapes out of thin air. Big deal if they were real tapes. Have you found who you are now by suffering these horrible things about your past? Have you seen your aspects to your own Venus in your own chart? Fix it if you can. The world is in the shitty place it is right now because people are forced to pretend to be someone they aren't. Cults thrive on making people believe they can give them what they need, and everyone outside is evil or bad. Big deal you got caught in one. Big deal you are exhausted from trying to live your life. So you messed up big time. Okay, now you know you were wrong. Forgiveness is Neptunian. Find your value. Make your mark in the sand. Forget your allegiance to lies. Love yourself even though you don't know things you think you should now. Love yourself even though you're still recovering from the last mess you made. Failure is a step toward sacred creativity. Astrologer Stephen Arroyo says of transits to Neptune that these are times to face escapist habits, define ideals, and heighten psychic sensitivity. Venus will always reflect your actual behaviors towards your choice to be you in this world. No need to hide. Not possible anyway. You can't hide from yourself. Neptune is also about psychic connection. The shift for Neptune into Aries, with Venus conjuncting him, I expect, will open up some powerful opportunities in the area of psychic research. These two, along with Mars, will be working together. You thought Venus-Neptune and Pisces aspects were full on. Just wait. This is really getting exciting. Venus and Neptune have things in store for us we can only dream of. You won't want to miss it. When someone told me years ago that I was on a path of unconditional love, this didn't sound appealing to me. But the more we work with astrology, especially Venus and Neptune cycles, the more we discover how perfectly magical unconditional love is, and how it elevates our ability to express ourselves authentically. You might find that expressing yourself authentically returns the fulfillment you've been searching for all along, and every sad and painful Venus transit has led you to this treasure.